People just want to categorize people in a tweet. They want, if you're not completely aligned with the left, they'll just lump you in with the right. I'm a big believer in social programs. I'm a big believer in welfare. I'm a big believer in taking care of poor people.
Nowadays, people just have to lump you in with a group, the left or the right. Oftentimes, people don't even have reason as to why they affiliate themselves with these political ideologies. And they're so opinionated, they're so strong-minded. But that's because as a society, we have become more divisive. We have become group versus group, us versus them. And there is something unique about it that I think Joe Rogan highlights in this particular clip. Let's get right into it.
People just have to lump you into one category or another, and if you're not completely aligned with the left, they'll just lump you in with the right.
Yours is pretty easy to figure out because you didn't endorse Bernie Sanders. Right? It should be like all of 1 second to figure out maybe you aren't.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything to anybody. People just want to categorize people in a tweet, categorize people in 140 or 280 symbols. It's just, they just decide that you're this or you're that. That way they can categorize you as the enemy.
Does that bother you at all?
Nuance.
Do you care?
I wish that they didn't. But what are you going to do? I mean, does it bother? Yeah, if somebody miscategorizes me or mislabels me, I guess it would bother me a little bit, but that's just on that. It's not who I am.
And notice, Joe's about to state out the things that he is left aligned with and the things that he's right aligned with. And that's the reality of the world. People are multifaceted. They have multiple opinions and they can be both left and right depending on the situation or the issue, because not everyone's a robot, alright?
I'm a big believer in social programs. I'm a big believer in welfare. I'm a big believer in taking care of poor people. I'm a big believer in social programs to clean up cities. And there's a lot of shit that we should be doing in this country to help people that are disenfranchised, because it's not fair. Anybody thinks that it is fair that someone lives in a crime-infested, gang-ridden inner city, and that's exactly the same as someone who grew up in the suburbs. That's crazy.
Right. That would go against what I think a lot of people would expect you to say.
But I'm a cage fighting commentator. I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment. There's a lot of reasons why they would decide to categorize me as a right-wing person, but it's not correct. And also all this ridiculous woke that's going on, this bizarre mind virus that's going from universities into tech companies and the media, and just infiltrating people with these rigid ideas of what you have to say and not say and what you can and not say. It's like that. None of that is liberal. None of that is really open-minded or progressive. It's all just it's a cult. And so if you go against it, the only thing you could possibly be is the other.
Yes, of course. You can only be the other. You can only be right-wing conservative. You can only be ultra anti-everything. The enemy. And if we just saw each other with love and we actually followed the golden rule. But that's reality. Humans we're deeply evil, deeply flawed. We don't have actual reasoning skills all that much.
You must be like a MAGA supporter.
My main thing with it is, if I know how you're going to answer a question basically before it's asked, which I think you can do with almost everybody involved in politics, I don't trust you.
Right.
and you really can't.
Yeah.
On both left and right, ask any question, you know what they're going to answer it. It's like you're not thinking independently.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, right? If you are on the right, I have to assume you're dismissive of climate change. If you're on the left, I have to assume that you want a woman to have the right to choose, period. And there's things like that, like you are pro-abortion, or you are pro this, or you are pro that. And what's weird now is, like, if you're on the left, you're pro-Ukraine war. You want to send your pro-military industrial complex getting funneled billions and trillions of dollars into their system to be able to create weapons to fight off Russia. Whoa, that's the left now?
And really, that should have nothing to do with either side, really. I mean, how you feel about that, I don't think should be left or right. And that's a super complicated issue, to be honest. For me, at least, it's like Ukraine. You don't want a country being invaded that doesn't want to be invaded. They're not Americans, but they are humans.
Yeah.
So
Exactly, guys. We are all human beings. We should wish the best for our neighbor. These are principles that can be found in the Bible. If everyone just read the Bible, and I know it's very, very like, oh, if everyone just did this, everything would be better. But seriously, if people were encouraged to read the Bible, they would actually create a better society for everyone.
what do you do? Well, what do you do there? It's a tough situation.
It's very tough. And it's also very complicated, too, because there's NATO's involvement in pushing weapons closer to the border of Russia and trying to get trying to get the Ukraine to join NATO, and
It's like Jack Ryan. It's literally sort of like that
Yeah.
plot. But yeah, no, there is no easy answer to a lot of issues. But it's just so black and white, and that's no good.
The reality of it all is this: you can't just lump people into groups because they agree with one opinion. And I used to be a victim of that. I used to lump people in just because I was naive enough to believe that everyone thought the same and everyone was the same. And I'm deeply sorry about that to the people who have been victims of me doing that. But that is it. That is my message. If you enjoyed the video, check out this one. It's a lot more controversial and it's a lot more divisive, but I think you'll like it. Thanks for watching and stay strong.